which is a much longer full portrait. But I was noticing in the center of it how gorgeous this would be segmented out. So this is one of those selective cropping processes that you do sometimes to revisit something that's older and in the public domain, remake it in a modern sensibility, and get something new and fresh and exciting. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He helps me do these wonderful lessons. The first lesson of 2021.
Is.
Our lesson of 2021. It's going to be the best one I've ever done. He helps me do these wonderful lessons by organizing the cameras, turning everything on, switching, reading questions in the chat, making sure you have your resources. I have a bunch of moderators here. Those are the people with the wrenches. They have a whole selection of special links that I hand curate before the show for you guys. If you check the description below, there's a link to our website. On the website is a resource, a very important resource. There's the gridding resource for you there. Also, there is a traceable, the final painting for you to print out and use as a reference. So my advice to you is at home, grab that painting, print it out on your home printer or put it on another device so you can be seeing what our objective is as we go. John does put up the picture-in-picture sometimes.
Sometimes.
How do I teach this stuff to a beginner painter? Here it is, 2021. Maybe you got some art supplies. Maybe you're here, you're like, I'd like to learn how to paint. There seems to be some other people who watch this lady for some reason, and maybe she can help me paint. I absolutely can. If this is your very first painting, you should know that we grade our difficulty in 3 hoots. You can read more about that in the description below. This is a 3-hoot painting, but I do break down things a lot and make a lot of extra steps to make it easier. After the video, we will chat mark. And after the video over the weekend, I will have the chapter mini book out. So there's a lot of resources. There's also 2 playlists. There is a How to Paint Skin Tones playlist that I put together for you. So if you'd like to make some changes to this or learn more about painting skin tones or need a video specifically about creating skin tones with some of the colors that we have out today, that's in there. I also have a Walk Away Girl playlist. So that features girls that are walking away or we don't really see their faces. They're kind of an anonymous girl in a romantic landscape. And I have those from 1 hoot to 3 hoots. So you guys ready to jump on in?
Ooh, yeah.
Isn't this pretty? Didn't it come out really gorgeous? So I'm going to put this to the side here and we're going to talk about this here.
Okay.
And normally we spend like hours and hours gridding, and we may still. But I wanted to kind of preemptively go there. Now, in the mini book, there is an explanation like fully written out about how to grid, but we're going to talk about it just real fast. This is a 16 by 20 surface, right? And if I take a T-square ruler and I measure every 2 inches and make a mark, I'm going to make lines vertically and horizontally, making 2 by 2 squares. I'm going to number those 2 to 20 and 2 to 16, right? And that's going to match this reference. Now, I'm going to demo exactly how you use this, especially if you're a person who doesn't draw a stick figure. And yes, this method actually works for the non-drawing people. Yeah. If you've always identified as a non-drawer. If you've always identified that way, this particular technique will really surprise you at how it helps you draw. If you're not ready for that, that isn't in your heart yet, don't worry, because the traceable is there. You'll just want to use the poster option so you can size up to a 16 by 20. So definitely print out your version of this. Over here, I just want to talk a little bit about the materials. The materials for 2021 are going to be the same for all videos. If you did Acrylic April with me, it's the Acrylic April color list. Today's colors will be quinacridone magenta. We're not going to use too much of that, but we're going to use a little. Cad yellow medium. Now, Naples yellow light Naples yellow, also sometimes called tight knit yellow, PY53. Moderators, I should have a Naples yellow playlist with a little lemon in front of it. If you can drop it for everybody in there, that's a blog where I tell you the exchanges, how to mix it, everything you need to know about this color, even all the different paint companies that make it and what they call it, because they changed the name. And it's like $3 too expensive. So like there's a price point in there for you. Phthalo green, ultramarine blue, cad red medium, Mars black, titanium white, and burnt sienna. So that is going to be our colors for this painting. Now this is a grid reference, and what we basically do to make this reference work is we only draw what we see in the square.
Okay.
right? So if I'm here in this square along row 14 on 16, I can draw that finger, this finger, right? These fingers.
All the fingers.
All the fingers. Right? That's what I would put in there. And you see how I'm outlining those lines? That's letting you know the part of the painting that you would actually be doing. So this top finger would come across here almost towards the end and then bend down. Right? And we're going to just go through this because I got to draw it anyway.
You got to draw all the fingers.
I got to draw all the fingers anyways. These are, I would say, probably a more challenging element of this painting, but I don't want you to get too stressed out about it because really, you know, they're just fingers anyways, which are just long, spindly things. You're like, that's not even cute. And put this little finger here is a little more detailed than, say, some of the others. And then we have this wonderfully open pinky, which I really, really like the open pinky. Put the little knuckle there. Mm-hmm. Bring that down. So again, if you don't draw, you're not really drawing pinkies. You're drawing just what you see in the square. That's how you get that in there.
That just pops. What are you drawing with?
Oh, okay. So this is in your description. This is a Cretacolor pastel chalk pencil. There is a link to get them. Listen, on the Amazon links, besides being affiliate links, boom, FTC compliant. It also says it down there. It gives you some alternates. You can use it as a shopping list too. See what the item is, check it against Dick Blick, check it against Jared's, check it against Cheap Joe's, check it against everybody, and make sure that you're getting the best deal that you can. So I've got the little bodice here. Now I'm going to come through and come over this side. So if you had this at home, right, what you would do is you want to just kind of identify what is the line and what row is it in. So if I'm here, I'm in row 4, right? And over here on 8, I got to pull this out even more. That's what we're doing, is we kind of figure out where we are in all the little rows. Mm-hmm. And then make sure that we just follow just the line. You're not trying to draw an arm, you're trying to draw just this line. 10 is pretty easy here. Kind of just is almost parallel, isn't it?
Yeah.
It comes in and makes this nice little elbow. Elbow almost touches at the bottom of 12 right here. So that makes suddenly that elbow gesture, oh my goodness, so much easier to do. And then you can see it kick up here. It's going to come through square 6, right? Through square 6 here. And so we just do this all the way through.
All the way through.
All the way through. All the way through.
As opposed halfway through and walking away from it. And
well, that's not as effective. The halfway through and walking away from it.
That never gets
not as effective. Get my little wrist in here so I have a nice little gesture there. So that's a nice little forearm if you've never done a forearm before. Back over into 4. I can start on 10. That line that I might see, you know, on the forearm. Mm-hmm. Because they have a lot of beautiful curve to them. So you can actually capture that pretty easily right now using this process, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, we forgot to put up step 1, and this is step 1.
This is step 1.
Yes, silly me.
Is it?
Yeah, I'll mark it at the beginning of the step, but if you can hit step 1 now, that'd be great.
I'll put a little step 1 in there for you.
Yeah, that way when we hit step 2, we're like ready for it. We like to chapter mark the art here for 2 reasons. It matches the mini books that we produce, and those are little free little downloads that will help you.
And we really like to make our life as complicated as possible when doing
possible.
So we try to add as many things that we have to remember to do at once during a live show.
So you can kind of see how this line would work here. So I can use my little chalk line. I'm just demonstrating this because sometimes I'll get asked the question, how do you know what line you're drawing? That's the line I'm drawing. These are called contour subject lines, right? So.
Wow. Carrie Carrie says she's got you on the big screen, and it's like being in the same room with you.
Hi, Carrie. I'm in your house. This is me being in your house.
On your wall.
On your wall. Being in your house, on your wall, doing stuff.
That's a meme. I'm in your house, drawing on your wall.
I think that's actually pretty scary, to be honest. So this here, I like to leave my knuckle marks in just so I know where they would be. That way when I'm doing the fingers, it's just a little bit easier. Like I know there's a knuckle here. 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 Once I know where the knuckles are, pretty mellow for me to kind of gesture out some fingers. Right? So come up here. This one has a nice little bend in it. Coming forward. This one is a little bit foreshortened over. And this one is as well. So that gives us that nice little look of a hand. And we don't even see the thumb. Isn't that a blessing? Last lines. So coming here, and this is in row 8, and going down is this incredibly tapered waist. This girl is waist training or something. I'm telling you what, this is what we call it now, 12 and 10. So you just come over row 12 and 10, and you just make sure that you're capturing the gesture of that extreme line. Look at that. Amazing. And then shockingly enough, this is going to come through here, kind of in that angle, and you can kind of see how that goes down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Down there. And then the easiest part of all is, of course, the skirt going off. And that was the best, funnest part to have to deal with in any way. But right here, we do have a little bit more of a challenge. I find that taking the extra time and getting the stripes in early is a boon.
Now, Diane was asking, is step 1 the grid or is step 1 the drawing? Because I put up step 1 as the grid.
Step 1 is the grid in the draw. It's getting it all drawn in on the grid. Getting all drawn in.
So this was all step 1.
This is all step 1. Step 2 is when we paint in the stripes, but we've got to get this all in.
We got to get all this in. All right. So
yeah. So how I organize it as we go forward in 2021, where you guys know what's happening. I'm scheduling out content early. You know what the materials are for the month. Lots of information coming to you early, so you can work those sales. In general, conceptually, step 1 is generally, if there's just a ground, a plain color, and the sketch out or blocking or any sort of lines that you sketch on, those combined will be step 1.
By our powers combined.
By our powers combined. It is the step 1. Now the stripe is in 14, and it's going to, I find sometimes it's just easier to bring it back this way, come from the bottom. Because it's a bit of a journey to get this little sucker on there. Because there's some real gesture that happens with our little stripey stripes. Mm-hmm. So if I get my stripes worked out now, and I get them sort of pre-painted in.
I guess horizontal lines on a corset would be kind of counterproductive.
Horizontal lines on a corset are super counterproductive.
They're like, no, must be vertical lines. That's because vertical lines are slimming. So.
Well, actually, this amazing piece of machinery here is really quite extraordinary.
And it squeezes the tar out of you?
Well, this one did squeeze the tar out of her, but the boning on it was really fascinating because, like, we have a little bit of a sliver of boning here.
You know.
And then we have a little sliver of boning here.
I would say that it's silly to wear a corset, except men were wearing armor at the same time, which was perhaps also kind of silly.
Also kind of silly. All right, there we go. Nice little stripy stripes. Stripy stripes. And there's another little sort of corset coming up here. It's a little stripe. It's going to come up.
Well, hello, Barbara, in Tanzania, North Africa.
Oh my goodness. Hello, Barbara. That is far away. That's
That's
sort
a-
of super awesome.
That's a stone's throw and a couple skips.
Stone's throw and a couple skips. It's a bit of a hop, skip, and a jump.
A little bit.
And also, Tanzania. That just sounds cool.
It might be a train, a plane, and an automobile to get there.
I suspect, and a bus
And a bus with a lot of people.
with a lot of people. But we could be wrong.
And men wore heels before women ever thought to.
It's super true. They did.
And
So
they're quite
there
nice.
we go. Now the next step will be I'm gonna sip my coffee and let you guys sort of. Oh,
That's bigger power than us.
that's the neighborhood.
That's the neighborhood. So we're still broadcasting. Maybe they can hear us. I'm not sure. But
Oh, is that because we're on?
yeah, we're on a backup system. So what I'm going to
Okay.
say
I don't
is-
know. Like I'm looking over here at the
Oh,
stream.
well, it's still streaming, but not for long.
Not
So-
for long. Oh, I've frozen. It's done.
Yeah.
It's done streaming.
Well, I'm going to stop that stream, or we'll just see how long the batteries last.
Well, I mean, we're not going anymore.
Nothing is going. The whole house is off, right?
Right. All you had to do was capture that corset, and we can blend it into step 2. Hopefully something can get out. Guys, the power in the neighborhood just went out. The whole neighborhood. Oh man, power. We're going to have to get a generator on this.